Alright, so before the Orenda Power video start, since I'm uploading this in September 11, I just wanted to take a little bit of time for this episode to remember what happened 17 years ago. Now, I was only 5 years old back then, so I didn't really realize what was happening nor understood what was happening. But now that I have grown up and mature, I can tell how dark and violent this act was. So I just want to show my care, blessing, and love to all the family members of the victims, as well as to pretty much everyone altogether. I think terrorism, an act of violence, will never be justified no matter the reasons. I do believe there is always a place and hope for peace. And I do believe that 9/11, as well as many other events in history, should be remembered. And sadly, a lot of things are often hidden from us, but really violence is all over the world. Everyone suffers from it, and I do believe it is time for it to stop. I do believe it is time for us to unite in peace, so action like that never occurred again. Sorry. I know my words aren't the strongest, and I know I won't be able to reach that many people with them, but I just want to be sure to offer all my support to all of the people who wants it. So thanks a lot, and let's begin the episode of Orenda Power. Welcome to a new episode of Orenda Power, and today we are unraveling the mystery and the secret of the 44-gallon aquarium, as one very clever crayfish have made his way back. This is the story of the Shadow Master and how he managed to enter the 44-gallon without being noticed. Our story began a few days ago when I realized that the 44-gallon had a new visitor, a little crayfish that I've called and nicknamed the Shadow Master. This very clever crayfish have been able to enter this aquarium without even being noticed. But who is he and where does he come from? Well, this is something I'm going to tell you right now. He is most likely the spawn of Mrs. Crab, a crayfish that was once ruling the 44 and then the 26-gallon aquarium before being cast away for attacking Drogon, the male betta fish. So Mrs. Crab was assumed to be in the container with the minnows outside of my home, and I didn't thought any crayfish would be in the 44-gallon ever again. This was the beginning of the grand plan of Mrs. Crab, as she wanted to take her kingdom back by any means. And so one day I was pretty surprised to see that she actually had some little eggs under her tail. Now this was a very big surprise, as she didn't encounter any male crayfish since the day I got her from the local fish store. But apparently, even though it was been a long time, the eggs were fertile. I didn't thought so earlier, because all the eggs just disappeared at one point. But I was wrong, as one of the babies was going to take and claim everything the mother wanted. But how did our little shadow thief entered the 44-gallon aquarium for her mother? Well, it is pretty simple. He'd have used a Trojan horse in the form of those plants. You see, those plants were in the same container as Mrs. Crab and her spawn, and thus this little crayfish have been able to enter the 44 once again. The shadow teeth is still very small, and he have to be very clever and discreet. This is probably how he've managed to live in this environment for so long without being noticed. He is the master of the dark. He always hide from the big fish, and this is a very good thing for him. He is so clever though that even I didn't saw him for a long time. This video was pretty hard to film as he was very clever and really skittish. It have to be since he is so small and thus vulnerable to any attack from bigger fish. Apparently, he's not only escaping from my eyes, but also the eyes of the other inhabitant of this aquarium, as even Gimli, a Grammy that spend a lot of time in the same hiding spot, do not see him that often. So this is very impressive to see that this little crayfish is able to escape everyone, and also the story he is telling is pretty impressive as well. For now though, he must be very cautious as his small size makes him an ideal prey item for ghosts. Ghosts have done another murder though, and this will be tell in a future video of Orenda Pout. For now, leave your thoughts, comment, a like, and a subscribe, and I will see you all pretty soon. Thanks a lot for watching, and also remember that may the fish be with you always, and everything will be alright. So thanks a lot, and I love you all.